Would you like to discover the 5 critical reasons why women get attracted to the wrong men? Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man Method. And look, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and click that bell right below the subscribe button so you get notified when new videos are coming your way that help you to attract that right man for you. And stay till the very end for some very special gifts that I have for you. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Reason number 5 why women get attracted to the wrong man is because they have a parts conflict. Wait a minute, what's that, Antia? Well, what so often happens is there's a part inside of us that wants to have the deep connected long-term relationship that you'd so desire in your life. However, due to your childhood, past trauma and experiences, there can also be another part inside of you that actually does not want to have the deep connected and long-term relationship. This can be for reasons of wanting to maintain individuality, wanting to have space and freedom, and finally having massive fear of intimacy. So if that sounds like you, right? You want to have the relationship, but you don't. You're in, but you're out, right? The moment a man gets close to you, maybe gives you flowers, gives you compliments, right? Is actually present and consistent, you get kind of like almost turned off. Chances are you have a parts conflict inside of yourself. Now, what do you do with those parts? For one, actually understanding what they are. One part is more the anxious part, right? That really wants to connect. The other part is the avoidant part that really wants to always have space and also wants to make sure that everybody is accountable only to themselves and not the other person as well, right? So there's sort of like this, that part doesn't want to be responsible for the other person's feelings or vice versa. So what we need to do here is actually getting to know those two parts better, right? And bringing them together. That's right. In order to heal the parts conflict, you have to actually harmonize them inside of yourself and find a way that really helps you to be consistent, maybe not as fast, maybe your avoidant part wants to go a little slower, right? Or maybe the anxious part wants to communicate more than the avoidant part will allow it to. Well, if that sounds like you, then chances are you have a parts conflict and this is how to solve it. Reason number 4 why women are attracted to the wrong man is because they are literally addicted to their emotional home. Now, think about it this way. What does an emotionally unavailable or wrong man does to you? How does it make you feel, right? Oftentimes, we're being left like feeling rejected, abandoned, right? Not taken care of, and certainly disappointed. Now, what happens so oftentimes in our lives throughout is that those wrong men are actually a reflection of the emotional home that you created when you were a little child. When you actually learned there's disappointment that I'm experiencing from my parents over and over again because my mom is a narcissist. My mom is just not able to attune to me, or my dad is just never there. He's always emotionally unavailable. So even though I keep reaching out and I keep hoping that he finally is going to meet my needs for emotional closeness and approval, right? I get disappointed over and over and over again until it finally becomes an addiction. Now, what do you do about that is, of course, create a new emotional home. Now, look, part of the reason why this emotional home is so comfortable because you feel so much certainty about it. You know exactly when it comes on. You know exactly how it feels right before a man disappoints you, if you keep with the theme of disappointment, right? And you also know how to handle it, who to call, so it feels familiar. How can you create a new emotion that you want to feel? Let's say you want to feel hopeful or excited. How can you create that level of certainty inside of your body, inside of your heart, inside of your mind to the same degree that you have that certainty of disappointment. That's when you finally get to shift your emotional home, and guess what? You will actually be quite turned off by the wrong man. Reason number 3 is women who are attracted to the wrong man have wrong role models. Now look, if you've seen your mom always settle, right? Like maybe it was married several times, or maybe it was actually like put down by your dad who was like really dominant or was emotionally just not available. So she never got her needs met, right? Not a great role model, but you follow that role model, right? We, at the end of the day, have mirror neurons inside of ourselves. So we're unconsciously mirroring what we learn in our childhood, what we see, what we feel from our parents' nervous system. Also, look at your closest friends in your life, right? Do they have happy marriages, right? Just because they're marriages doesn't mean it's happy, right? Do they have healthy relationships, or are they highly codependent? Are they also not getting their needs met by their partners? Really look at what are the agreements inside of your family, within your friendship circle, so that you just get to be right? You get to be, see, that's what happens, right? Oh, girlfriend, let me tell you about it. Like last week, Joe Schmo also disappointed me. You know, all men suck, right? And so then we get to commiserate and collaborate in our misery together, right? And there's a payoff in that. So you have to be willing to look at that. Now, how do you shift that? Well, you guessed it, finding new role models, right? So what I always love to do is go on YouTube, type in like soulmate stories, or on Google, right? Like find blogs of encouragement of people. How did they meet? What are the secrets of relationships that last extremely long, where you're really happy even after 50, 60, 70 years? Find those role models. Also, ask powerful questions. How can you be even more aware of those incredible role models that are, by the way, already around you? Reason number 2 is the women who are attracted to wrong men are hoping to close their hope loop. Now I call it the hope loop because when you were a little child, right, you were not giving up hope. Right? You were like reaching and you were reaching and you were reaching and you were hoping that at some point your parent will finally respond. Finally, you get your emotional needs met, or finally you're seen for who you are. You're finally being understood and attuned to the way you deserve. So since that didn't happen, guess what? It is as if there is a cliffhanger. See it this way. Do you sometimes watch reality TV shows or any TV shows in general? What happens before the commercial comes on? There's a cliffhanger, right? We're like, wait, how did that scene end? Is she going to say yes to the proposal, right? Or not? Well, check it out next week. This same is happening inside of yourself. You have this eternal cliffhanger from your childhood that really is like wanting to close the loop. So what you think is, if you get attracted to men who feel very similar to what you experienced in your childhood, your mom or your dad, you think, oh, this is how I get to close the loop because I finally turn them around and I get my needs met. Needless to say, this is of course not what's happening. Instead, you create the same outcome over and over and over again. So what needs to happen? Wow, okay, this is a little extreme, but really your hope has to die. As a matter of fact, funny story, but 5 months before I met my husband, which was January of 2013, that was my breakthrough. I really let go of hope that anyone will ever save me, will ever turn around, after I was texting with another guy, which may sound familiar to you, right? And he made me all those promises that we will finally meet, and we never met. So I was just hoping and texting and waiting. And I just said, you know what? It just hit me. I was done. I said, there's no way. I don't need to learn to be patient any longer. I don't need to hope any longer. Nobody's coming on a white horse and rescue me. I'm done with this waiting pattern, right? And it's kind of funny because I broke up with my old self. So I turned on this song by Taylor Swift, We we'll never, never, never getting back together, right? So that was really my declaration to myself, right? To that old self of myself, really breaking up with it. So let that hope die so that finally you can attract an already healed, an already secure, and an already confident and trustworthy man in your life. And finally, reason number one why women are attracted to wrong men is because they like that edgy part of the distorted masculine, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, think about it this way, right? When you have the distorted masculine, that's sort of like unavailable, right? And it's like incongruent. There's sort of like this, there's this passion, right? You're going up and down on the roller coaster and you think that's chemistry, even though that's actually anxiety. As a matter of fact, I call that anxiety traction, right? Okay. And so then what happens is, right, like it's like, it's this edgy part. It's this masculine part, right? Like, I love that about him. He's a little bit of a bad boy, right? But the problem is it's a distorted masculine, which means it will always leave you confused, conflicted inside of yourself, and absolutely chaos inside of yourself, right? Abandoned and rejected, like I said before. What do you want to do instead? You want to actually realize, okay, how can I really find this edge, first of all, inside of myself? Because there's oftentimes also a suppression inside of that edge, inside of yourself. And also, how can you actually attract the healthy masculine in your life that still takes action and still takes charge and still has also an edge, but is also very grounded and usually feels actually much more calm. It's almost more like a calm lake versus like fireworks or like a wildfire. And now to my 2 free gifts. Number 1, take the Magnetize Your Man quiz where you get a personalized strategy by me by clicking the link right below or going to magnetizeyourman.com. And number 2, I have a special surprise. Like I said, my free online course playlist, which is, you just have to click right there on how to heal your anxious attachment style in relationships and how to attract that right man for you with that. So watch all of it. This is it for today, ladies. If you like this video, subscribe and like it and share it. Much love to you. Mwah! Mwah!